Hi, I'm Aviva Mongillo, and you're watching the Permanent Rain Press.
Hi everyone, it's Chloe with the Permanent Rain Press today. I am so happy to be joined by Aviva Mongillo. How are you?
I'm doing good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well, and I'm so excited to chat with you about not only your music since we last spoke around 5 years ago under Carys, but also your new Netflix series, Bet. And we'll start with the show because it's just so exciting. You, of course, play Dori, which is based off of the Japanese manga Kakegurui. What can you share about your audition process and what you were told about the show and the character you were auditioning for?
Yeah, so when I first auditioned, the character's name was Steph, and all I knew was that the show was called Bet. There was I went to the audition, I read the sides, and I felt really connected to this character. Like, I think I don't know if it's just me or maybe an actor thing, but there's just a feeling you get when you know, like, I know this character. I know who this is. And I went in and you know, went into like a self-tape studio and the person reading with me was like, "Do you know what this is for?" And I'm like, "No." And they kind of told me, they're like, people think it's for this, like it's based on the manga. And she told me about it, but I'd never heard of it. So I was like, I did my own kind of version of a character, and not knowing like anything, not knowing what it was based off. I just knew she was kind of unhinged and definitely uh, uh what's the word? It's like I'm trying not to say crazy because I don't think she's crazy, but it's like just kind of for sake of a not knowing a better word, like a little crazy, and had an eye patch. And so I did what I did and they liked it.
It's really cool to know that you kind of, you were cast based on your interpretation of this character before you kind of
Yeah.
maybe did some more research into the manga. So, of course, that's the character Midari that she's kind of based off of. So, after you were cast and after you went through the audition process, like how much research did you do with the source material and what specific elements, if any, did you draw inspiration from?
I watched some of the anime, and our lead, Miku, who plays Yumeko, she got everybody the manga. She bought everyone the first book. I guess I don't know what to call it, I guess, but like yeah, like the first manga edition. And so I read some of that and I watched some of the anime and focused on Midari's character. And quickly, like just doing that, I fell in love with her. I love Midari, and I felt like I understood why I got cast because without knowing much about her, I sensed we have a similar energy when it comes to like the chaotic and unhinged side. And some of the same struggles too. And so I tried not to let it influence me too much. So I didn't look into it as hard when we were filming it because I was like, I don't want to copy this character. I don't want to like study and imitate this character because she already exists. I want to, let her inspire me and what I've just like learned about her to inspire me, but then follow my own instincts because clearly the instincts I had were good to begin with. And so, um, there were some things that I saw that she did that I was like, oh, I totally like it, it just naturally influenced my character, like her tongue. She moves her tongue a lot, and seeing her do that a lot, it did unintentionally like make its way into my character, where I'm always like playing with my lip ring or like licking my teeth. And so that kind of became, or licking the knives and whatever. So I think that like the tongue stuff definitely from her quirk of that made its way into me.
It's always cool when they kind of like creep in on you, but I love that you kind of mentioned that you didn't want to completely like copy and imitate what already existed. And it's more important, I think, in this adaptation, at least in my opinion, to have captured like the essence of the characters and then, of course, bring that extra layer to it. Are there any other fictional characters or performances that helped you when shaping Dory?
Definitely. My process in general is very internal usually, and so I didn't seek out any characters, but like as I was acting and performing and, finding the character even on set, I thought about Harley Quinn a lot and thought about the Joker a lot. And I kind of would say like that Dory feels like an amalgamation of the two of them. Like she is very Jekyll and Hyde and um has like a deep capacity for love and just doesn't know how to focus that really. And so those characters really inspired me a lot, especially with some of the darker scenes. I thought a lot about the Joker, which is funny. Because the Joker is a way more intense character, but just like elements of that definitely resonated with me for Dory.
How was it creating Dory's look with hair, makeup, and wardrobe departments? And how would you describe her signature style and aesthetic?
It was awesome. I mean, I definitely didn't expect it. When I went into the audition, I went in with pigtail braids and um like pearl clips, and I played her the same way, but I pictured her to be a little more feminine. And so when I went in and she has this like punk rock, almost like British kind of influence in her style, it really excited me and it brought the character together more for me. Like it made her make more sense. So that was really like led by the team. And then once I saw that, I definitely added my own kind of ideas of like, oh, what if we did this and what if we did this? And everybody was so collaborative. Um, I think her style is like she likes to stand out and she wants to look different. She's somebody that, for me, I focused on her desire for longing and for connection, but she doesn't feel like that's possible. So the way she gets attention is by standing out and by being different. So that's kind of what I got from her wardrobe and what I tried to emphasize more of.
I love the like metal accessories you mentioned, kind of like this punk rock like coming in and bold hairstyles. Which was your favorite Dory look in season one and why?
I keep coming back to the corset with the piercings in it. It's like I think I got to wear it twice. I can't remember now if I got to wear it again, but oh, I did. I did get to wear it twice. But I kept being like, I just love that corset. I wanted to take it home. I loved it so much. So probably the library outfit was my favorite. I felt so sexy, and I wasn't used to feeling that in the Dory outfits because they are more masculine, I felt, and I definitely feel like my character leans a little more in her masculine energy. So I loved the library look because it was a little like look into maybe her softer side, but then still with the nipple piercings. I just loved it.
That was the black corset over like the white uniform shirt,
Yeah.
right? Yeah,
Mhm.
that was a look. And you also got to wear the different eye patches as well.
Mhm.
So was it fun to kind of go into wardrobe and be like, oh, this is the eye patch I'm wearing today?
Yeah, definitely. And like I could probably tell you that some of the choices for what eye patch I was wearing was depending on if I needed to see or not, because with the big eye patch I wear, the like white one I wear in like the first two episodes, I think I couldn't see through it. And that became a problem when it came to like the stunts. Because that was originally going to be my eye patch through the whole thing. And then it became an issue with like, how are we going to do a sword fight if I can't, like, it wasn't really my concern. I wanted to wear it, but people worried for my safety were like, you're not going to be able to see properly. That's not like safe. So the black eye patch was like kind of like a sunglass. And we had this like pad in it so you couldn't see my eye, but any wide shots, we'd take the pad out so I could see. So that was kind of like part of the reason why we chose those eye patches. And then like for the Bet Gala, that was my favorite one. That was so cool.
I love the little insight that you shared, so thank you. I was thinking like it might affect your depth perception, so definitely
Yeah.
a bit of a ha hazard on set that they were like, no, Aviva, you really need to be able to see what you're doing. But
Yeah. And I was
can
like, I'm good, I'm fine. No, it's fine. Even though like I would take it off after like doing a scene and I'm not joking, my eyes would be cross-eyed and I couldn't like put them back. Like it felt like it was really, really affecting my vision. And when I took it off, I'd have to like reset. Like I'd have to like come back and be like, okay, like move my eyes back. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad it all worked out in the end. And can we have a moment for that gala look? Because you had like that velvet dress, which I'm sure also was like nice to feel a bit more, like you mentioned, tap into her feminine side.
Yeah, I loved that look. It felt so evil villain, but in like in not an evil way. I don't know, it was like so dramatic and I live for that.
In your opinion, like what are her primary intentions and goals? What does Dory live for?
Dory, I think in the beginning of this season, I don't even think she knows what she lives for. She's kind of living for the thrill. Like she's living to feel something. She's looking to feel something. And I think throughout the series, it becomes clear to her that she really wants to be seen. And the way she's been feeling is like that's not possible. And so if I can't be seen, I'm gonna be looked at. Like people are gonna look at me and they're gonna notice me. And I want people to feel something when they're around me. And she doesn't know that there's a softer side to that because she didn't grow up with that kind of love in her life or that kind of connection. And through the series, she realizes that might be possible. And it becomes something that she sees as like more powerful in a way than these short highs. And that really like challenges her worldview.
You mentioned her childhood, and she didn't really maybe grow up with, the support and love that she's kind of slowly discovering in present day. How much of her is shaped by her childhood? Like, can you share any insight into any backstory that you created for her or discuss with others and how it impacted who she is?
Yeah, I say in the show when I reveal my eye to Michael, I say my parents did experiments on me and like I was like their test dummy. And that broke my heart. That was one of my audition scenes. And I really leaned into the vulnerability there. And that's what made me realize that this character isn't crazy. She's just unsure how to connect. And the way she does that is how she did that as a child, which is just making a scene and being loud and being, um, you know, yeah, I guess loud. There was no other word. And then, I think that her childhood, I pictured it like she grew up with a mother who was, narcissistic and self-involved and saw her as an extension of herself. So didn't really care about her individual needs. Just saw her as like a thing that could fulfill her own needs and praised her for that. And then having a father who didn't stand up for her. And I see her dad and even the actor that played my dad in the show influenced this a lot. But I realized like he's really soft-spoken and kind of not a pushover, but kind of a pushover. And you can tell that he and Dory both have something in common and have this like connection. And so I that really added to the backstory too of going like maybe my dad and I have this connection, but he's just never told me. Like he's never said I love you, and he never stood up for me to my mom. And I resent him for that. I'm really, so having this childhood that was very much like I learned how to be alone, that's kind of all Dory knows. And that's what she tells herself she doesn't care about. Like she's like, yeah, I'm a lone wolf. I don't care. Like I don't need anybody else. I'm my own person. And that's her mask for feeling this pain of like never being seen or known.
And you can definitely see that start to, like you've said before, kind of crack throughout the season. And it's hard to think about, her traumatic past, but it really helps kind of inform the decisions that you made. And it's mentioned that she has ADD as well, which I imagine also played a factor. Like you mentioned, her needs weren't supported when she was younger by her parents.
And yeah, being somebody with ADHD, I had suspected I had ADHD and then I got casted as someone who has ADHD. And I also have OCD. And I saw these things in Dory. And maybe that's because they are part of me. But she also, the character says that she has ADHD. And um, I, after the show, went and got tested for it because I was like, I'm pretty sure I have it, and I want to make sure I can like speak for that and speak to that and like have people know that this was something that I didn't portray lightly with this character. I really fought for things that would make her, although she's in this like insane, absurd world, and we don't live in that kind of a crazy world, I wanted to make sure her mental illness wasn't like a joke, and that we could really see that this is something that she struggles with, and that it's something that is actually makes her really smart and makes her really capable of emotional connection and really self-aware. And I wanted that to come across and not that it's just like, oh, she has ADHD, she's crazy. So that was really important to me with this character as well.
I thought you gave a really authentic portrayal, and we'll talk about a couple of those, maybe more vulnerable, raw moments for her. But what do you think were Dory's first impressions of Yumeko and her quick assimilation into St. Dom's and its gameplay?
Part of her respects Yumeko because she's doing what Dory does. She's breaking the rules, and Dory kind of feels jealous of her a little bit because she's less afraid than Dory is and is more brave, has less shame, is just like out there being herself. And that's what Dory likes to think about herself, is that that's what she's doing, but that's not true. So Yumeko becomes this threat, like immediately, not only to her status and her sense of self, but also to this budding connection with Michael because they spend a lot of time together. And Dory perceives it like, you know, it's her or me. She doesn't see that maybe there's a possibility that they're just friends or whatever. She's just like, this girl's threatening everything I care about. And then there's part of her that goes, but I also kind of wish I was her. I wish I could be like that. And I'm kind of jealous of her her free nature. That's something I've never experienced, like that Dory has never experienced. So that's definitely like that's how she perceives her. And I think that the only way she really knows how to deal with that is to just try to take her down. She's like, how do I just get rid of this girl?
Just trying to battle all the time. You mentioned, losing that kind of status. So student council began losing its power and predictability with Yumiko's arrival. What do you think Dory's allegiance to Kira is and the other council members?
I think that Dory's in student council because it would just suck not to be. That's kind of her feeling about the whole thing is like it protects her. So her loyalty to Kira kind of comes from just not wanting any trouble, a lot of it. And then once it stops protecting her, she kind of loses her loyalty to Kira. So I feel like very quickly she's kind of like, okay, you're not serving me anymore, really. I don't really care what you think. And at the end of the day, she never really cared. It's more like I don't want a problem and I don't want to be kicked out of student council and I don't want to be murdered. But I do like to kind of push the envelope a little to get a little bit like I like to fight, obviously. She likes to fight, but she doesn't want it to be too serious. Like she doesn't actually want it to get to a point where she ends up like getting nixed. So a lot of it comes from like survival. And once that doesn't serve her survival anymore, she doesn't really care as much about Kira.
Yeah, I like how you said it because it does offer a bit of a safety net because you kind of mentioned, being almost like a lone wolf and feeling by herself. So with student council, at least there's a bit of a group around her, although they're not like best friends or I'm
No.
sure spilling each other's secrets. We do get a glimpse into Dory's lifestyle in her room in episode 3. So tell me about crafting her space and did you get any input with set decoration?
I didn't, but I was okay with that. I walked in and I just was like, this is awesome. It made me really happy. And it makes so much sense for the character. And it to me it represents a lot of her inner life of how I feel like how I described Dory at the beginning was I feel like she has like 100 channels going at all times. Like she's like a TV with 100 channels and that's why she's so unpredictable and the way she knows how to be is just basically by regurgitating, like reacting and consuming information. And so that room, like, they nailed it, I felt like. And it was really fun to be in it and like look around and just like, I don't know, part of me felt like cozy. And I think that speaks to just like our generation, like Gen Z, and how much we consume media too. Like, I'm pretty bad at that. in real life. So
There was like that gigantic blue light, of course, gaming screens everywhere. I love like one of the first close-up shots was the stuffed bear with a knife in the chest, and it was just like that is so Dory. Of course, this is before we begin peeling back those layers, and she battles Yumeko in Dance Splosion. She's really good at it. Was it fun to explore this side of her that isn't always so cutthroat, and how did you want to play and justify that duality?
Yeah, I see myself as kind of a, even in my life, I'm always looking at duality and contrasts and stuff. So I felt like this was pretty natural to me to see that her cutthroat nature is an act. That's not something that is really true to her humanity. That's something she learned to survive. And really, she just wants to play. I think that that's kind of something about Dory I really loved playing, was that she's just looking for someone to have fun with. And this is like a world where we're playing games, but nobody's having fun. And that's why she's not engaged in the like gambling really when it comes to cards and like the regular games. She's trying to like have fun and do something different and play and whatever. So with Yumiko, the way I justified it was like, well, she knows one, she knows she's gonna win. So that's an easy, you know, that's easy to for her to like pick that because she wants to win and beat her and make her look stupid. But also like it's fun. It's fun to her. So, and you can see that I think hopefully I haven't seen the scene yet, but hopefully you can see in that scene that Dory's really actually having a great time. And she's hoping a little bit that maybe Yumiko also might have a great time and also that she gets to beat her. Um, and at the end she even says, she's like, you want to go again? Like, let's go again, you know? And then she's like, no, I don't want to play with you. It's kind of like, aw, all right, well, okay, anybody else? And she's just kind of like looking for like who's gonna have fun with me. So that duality to me is just justified by her true nature and desire for connection and play, and then her need for survival, which is where that tough, like cutthroat thing comes out.
She reminds me of that meme in that scene when it's like looks like they could kill you is a cinnamon roll, that kind of thing, because that just like totally stuck in my
Yes.
mind because I was thinking like I do really think that inside she does, she wants to belong, and so that comes from like needing to interact with other people. Which was your favorite scene in season one to film and why?
Probably the gym breakdown scene. Um, I think that was my favorite because it was my favorite scenes are the ones that I kind of feel afraid of a little bit or like challenged by. And that one was scary because the things Dory is saying, I've said to myself so many times in my life. So I really wanted to like nail it and really bring that truth to that moment. And so that was really scary for me. But when we filmed it, I sat off to the side and I kind of told people like it's not personal. I just kind of want to be by myself. And I just talked to myself, talked to my inner child and was like reassuring her like of this moment and how monumental it is to be in a place where we know I'm not saying these things to me. Now we're just playing and we get to share this part of our story with the world through this character. And this is something that's beautiful. And like when I'm saying these words, I don't want it to feel like I'm saying them to myself. I want it to feel like I'm sharing a deep part of me and a deep part of me that I haven't really shared. Um, and so I like really zoned into that intention beforehand. And I performed it in a way that I didn't expect. I thought I was gonna like, I don't know what they picked too. Like that's the thing, I haven't seen it. So I don't know what scene or what take they picked, but I kind of pictured it to be more extreme than it ended up being. I thought I was gonna be like, "Ah," and like screaming or whatever. And a lot of the takes ended up being just like really true and really quiet and just kind of like, damn it, like I am so stupid and really believed it. So that was hard, but it was awesome at the same time. And an actor loves those hard scenes that like feel emotionally raw. And I hit the dummy so hard my top broke. So that was fun. Luckily, I was wearing something underneath, so it wasn't like crazy. But I hit the dummy like so hard at one point, my top literally like ripped and fell completely off, and I caught it like this in my hands. And that I wasn't personally like, thrown off by that. I thought it was really funny. Um, but everybody was so sweet on set and so with that scene especially so caring and like, okay, what do you need? Like, I'm so sorry that happened to you. I'm like, it's okay. Like, I'm okay. I'm emotionally fine. Everybody was really like comforting and supportive through that scene too. So that just scene that day, it was a really like beautiful moment. Yeah, for a lot of reasons.
It's so nice to hear that you had that support, but also for you as an actor and someone who personally went through like that healing journey, I'm glad that it came out the way it did. And you mentioned it being a bit different than maybe you thought, but that's when you gave it your all and just what came out of you. And that was it was a short scene, but it tugged at the heartstrings for I think anyone who kind of felt that need to belong. And you did so well in that. And I'm so excited for
Thank
people to
you.
see, this more vulnerable, emotional side of Dory. Circling back before that moment, how was the library scene in episode 3 to film opposite Hunter as Michael and leaning into Dory's flirty side that we hadn't met prior?
Yeah, that was another one that was scary. Those were like kind of my top two. The breakdown scene and the library scene are my two favorite ones I got to film. I was really nervous because I really wanted, and just being totally transparent, I really didn't want this to come across too creepy. Like that was kind of my fear, is definitely I wanted her to be a little intimidating and socially brash, I guess, or like socially kind of unacceptable, but I didn't want it to go into a world where it was just creepy. I did want it to feel like there was something real there that was motivating her and not just like that she's a predator. Do you know what I mean? Because I knew that that wasn't true to this character. So that was really scary for me. And then when I worked with Hunter, it was like I could just breathe because he is he works a lot like me and had the same idea about this scene and what it was. And through the whole thing, we had like lots of support there helping us through this scene and whatever. But like through the whole thing, he also like we checked in with each other and we talked through things and we made decisions together. And that made it a lot less scary. So then it was like, okay, I actually feel connected to this person and I really trust him and I feel safe with him. And so it's going to be really easy to play that part because I don't have to like fake it. It's just there. So that helped me trust more that this scene was going to not come across like Dory is just this like creepy predator and more so that like she's reaching out for connection and in a way, I feel Michael sees that, even though he's like, what the hell is going on? I think that, I don't know, when we were filming it, it was very clear there was like a connection there. So, that made it easier.
What is interesting is I do feel like, throughout the moments that they share together, initially he would outwardly like rebuff her, but there's definitely something that's not completely like saying, get out of my face, which is kind of interesting between those two characters. Why do you think Dory is attracted to Michael?
I think originally, so it keeps coming back to like Dory's looking for someone to play with, and he's intrigued her because he doesn't gamble. He's not involved in like the school hierarchy. He kind of keeps to himself and he's so different from her. He's so calm and removed and but then in the same way he's a bit of a rebel and she admires that about him and um that initially attracts her to him. And then when she actually is with him, I think especially the first time was the library scene where she went, "Wait, hold on. Like you get me. You see me." And she feels seen. And that was a decision when you say like he rebuffs her, but you never fully feel like he's like, get the hell away from me. That was a choice we made together of like, let's never do that. Let's never be like, screw you because it just didn't feel honest or as interesting. And so um she's attracted to that he's not saying go away. And that's even I think in one scene she literally says like you're not telling me to go away. Like she calls him out. She's like, "Why aren't you telling me to go away?" And he's like, "Well, are you gonna listen?" And then but that's like there's something else there. It's like and it's so interesting to me and it was so fun to play that. Um and that's what she's attracted to. She is attracted to like the connection she feels with this person that makes her, like I said earlier, like makes her kind of see that like it's possible that she could show someone who she is, or they could see her and not be completely repulsed by her. And especially even after the library, sorry, after the Met Gala, after he does kind of have his first moment of like full rejection of her, you know, she's like, "Oh, great. Well, that's over." And then it's not. And so there's this hope for her of like maybe somebody can actually accept me and maybe then I can accept me.
I have to say that leaving the Polaroid selfie as a snack in the library scene, though, that was a moment. That was
Uh-huh.
very, very funny. I'm sure
Yeah.
for you filming it and like saying those lines, it was such a great delivery. But moving on, so Dori has the rematch with Yumeko and she ends up defeated. And I do love how Dori never hides how she's feeling, even in front of Kira. And like we kind of touched on, it never feels like it's personal for her. So how was that second duel to film and finding the right emotions for Dory?
I think that in this moment, and Dory is wanting to prove, really the only person Dory battles is herself. And I think that's why it doesn't feel personal, really, because it's actually maybe so personal with her and herself that it's not about anyone else and she almost just doesn't give a shit. Like she doesn't care if Yumeko dies. She's just trying to prove she can win. So and then that she would feel proud of that because she's like, "Well, I won." And that's it. It's like it has nothing to do with other people. And in this moment especially because she's already been found out, she feels threatened. And that's why this cutthroat I'm gonna like she can't hold back anymore. This animal is kind of out of the cage. And in a way, I think I chose that for this character intentionally. It kind of happened half naturally, but half I chose it because in this school, everyone is so calculated and there's this strategic, secretive nature to the hierarchy of the school and power. And Dory is just not capable of that level of filter. Like she just can't hold back. And I think that that does make her unpredictable and a bit of a threat, and she kind of knows that and likes it. And in this moment, she just can't hold back anymore. And she doesn't care if Kira kills her for it. She's just like, I'm over this. I need I need to end this now and prove I'm worth something. This is like her way of proving she's worthy of sticking around or something, do you know? Like, um, and worthy of, she can accomplish things and she's not just useless.
She's definitely going to give it her all, give it her best shot, and the katanas were her weapon of choice. Was it kind of fun to play with those? I'm sure there were, safeties, things in place, but you did get to hold two prop weapons, right?
Yeah, so that was really fun. The stunt rehearsals were fun. At first, I was kind of like, actually, do you know what's crazy? The Dance Dance Revolution stunt rehearsal was harder than the swords fighting. After the Dance Dance thing, I couldn't walk for days. Like because my calves were so seized up. I've never used my calves that much in my life that I had to go to a massage therapist. I had to like it was insane. I had like a whole remedy thing, and then on the actual day, I had to like not do the dance unless it was absolutely necessary. So it's crazy. But that being said, the sword fight I thought would be more difficult, and I just like thrived. I loved it. It was so fun. It did require a lot of practice, but it was like I thrived. I just loved it. I wanted to do more. And it was cool. I felt badass. So that was really fun too. I felt like a warrior, like a Lara Croft or something.
Very cool. And I'm sure, that's what you live for sometimes being an actor. So you want to try different genres. So here's your taste at
Yeah.
like the whole action star. Um, Dori unintentionally reveals Michael's father to Yumeko and is later revealed to be secretly helping him. Does she ever question his asks of her? Like, what does she hope to gain out of this?
Of course, she questions his asks of her. She's so nosy. As you can see from her literally wanting to watch him sleep, she wants to know everything about him, is very curious. So she's watching closely to everything he's doing, and he doesn't need to tell her what she. This was part of the ADHD thing too, was like he doesn't need to tell her she's hyper vigilant and she kind of knows something's going on. Um, and she's honored that he wants her help and that he trusts her. So I think that's like her main motivation is like, okay, I want to show him he can trust me and rely on me. Because maybe then he'll see I'm useful and he won't leave me. And that's part of it. But also, she's hoping like maybe he'll love me. And um, and so I think that's what she's just looking for his love and approval and interesting like daddy issues like she was looking for that from her dad and so that's something that now she's like okay well I can maybe get it from this person um so I think that when she reveals his dad to Yumiko I don't think she was fully grasping like she knew something was going on but she didn't know how serious it was and so I think that when that comes out as it does and how I played it was like she's trying to keep it a secret. She's like, Michael, like come look over here and he's not listening and that drives her crazy. So then she just yells and then she's like, oh shit, like I wasn't supposed to yell. And now I've fucked up this relationship because of it. So, she's definitely like her intentions there are just like I'm trying to like have a friend, maybe something more. I don't know. I just want to have a connection and I want him to trust me. And I want to prove I'm worth keeping around, that I can be useful to somebody and that they could have like they could get something from being around me that's not just annoyed. So those are all kind of the things going on. Like I said, 100 channels going at once in her head. So
The way she says it when, like you mentioned, you could see her getting more and more annoyed. She's like, Michael, it's your dad. Like the way she says it, and it comes out of her, and then everyone kind of looks. But at the school board retreat, what I love is like you kind of see that growth between the two characters when she kind of helps them escape. And she does tell him she would help him without it being like a transaction or expecting a return. So there you're getting, that bit about she just kind of wants that connection first and then is maybe hopeful for something later on. But can you take me through those key events of the retreat from Dory's perspective and how she maybe felt about Gabriel's death at the end? So that's everything from seeing her mother again and having those moments, blackjack with Yumiko and Kira, and then of course seeing Michael and his dad.
yeah, so that was really fun. That was a 2 day shoot. Or was that a week? No, that was a week and we filmed 2 episodes. Sorry, I was like, this is a 2 day shoot. No, it was just 2 episodes. But that was okay, hold on. I'm trying to like zone in here on what you're asking. So when Gabriel dies, Dory's main concern is Michael. And like I think at this point now she's prepared to like avenge this death if it comes to it, right? Like this is like you fucked with my person. Like this is my safe person and you fucked with him. And now I'm gonna kill you. Like that's like I think that's kind of what where she's at. She doesn't I think I can't remember if she knows what exactly happened at this point or who did it. But I assume if she knows it's Yumiko, that's it. Like Yumiko's dead. So she's definitely like feeling more like, okay, I need to, I'm now protecting my friend. And with her parents, she just cannot believe her mother. I almost feel like in a way, although she is so like not normal, I guess is the way to describe Dory. She's so like I keep wanting to say crazy, but I really don't believe she's crazy. I just don't have a different word. complicated. Even though she's so complicated, I feel like you can see that she's more mature than her mom somehow. And so, like, her mom being so immature and disgusting is like, she's just like, oh, like I hate you. Like, she hates her. And I don't feel it, like that's a wrong choice. I'm like, yeah, she hates her mother. And she, right now at least, she can't empathize with her mother. And her dad, she feels bad for. She kind of feels bad for him, but also angry with him. And so all these tensions, and then like the Kira and Yumeko thing, just so much going on. And all she's really concerned with at this point when Michael shows up, first of all, she doesn't want to be at that party. She doesn't care. She's playing video games. She just wants to go home. And then Michael shows up, and now there's a different reason to kind of be involved. It's kind of being like, why is he here? What's going on? Like, he's not supposed to be here. And I'm glad he's here. And I want to know why. And that becomes like her reason to be there is like, maybe I can be useful here.
I just thought it was so funny when she kept asking her mom if she could start a fire because there was that whole like, she's on the council, but like you mentioned, she doesn't really want to be there. She's not networking with other people. And of course, her mother and Gabriel, like you mentioned, she can't really empathize with her. She can't connect with her. And then of course you have Kira almost strangling Riri, which probably came as a shock to Dory and the other, kind of core council members.
Hmm. I actually can't remember if Dory's even there.
I feel like she would be maybe in the room or unless she was upstairs with Michael. There was
That's
like
what I'm
kind of
thinking.
shots that we couldn't see who was in the room because there's also the blackjack going on. And I have to say, I don't know how much you remember if you were in the room at any point, but they look so ill, Yumiko and Kira, and no one else like kind of clocks that they look like they're dying, which I thought
Yeah.
was kind
So
of a little comical.
yeah, in a way. So I do remember I was there for that. I was just at the back of the room near like a pole or something. Like I was standing by like a beam. I remember standing by like a beam of wood kind of away from everyone else. And yeah, I think that that's kind of how I also like to play Dory being hyper vigilant is that I don't know, it was never written, but if you do see me in the back or whatever, like I remember feeling in that moment like I was thinking like this is kind of like this is weird. Something weird is happening. And then also being focused kind of on my mom and Gabriel and being like, "Oh God damn it." Like there's just so embarrassing. Um but yeah, I think that you know what? I don't think I was there for the strangling scene. I feel like I might not have been there anymore because I don't remember. Because it's kind of like when, I don't know, having a character for me, it's like that character now lives in me and I can almost like go inside and like access her memories is how it feels. And I don't remember feeling anything about the choking, so I don't think I was there. But I
You'll
remember
see it on
feeling,
screen then.
yeah, I'll
You're
see if
like,
I
I
see
think I would
myself
remember
there, I'm like,
Clara and
oh.
Onwin like going at it on the floor.
I watched it on the monitor. I remember watching it on the monitor and like crying, like feeling so sad because like oh, like that just it just broke my heart.
I'm excited to chat with both of them about that scene as well. But we'll move on to the St. Dom's prep set to film at. How was that for you? Any behind the scenes details you can share?
It was so cool. Some of it we filmed in real schools and library, and some of it was built in a studio. Especially that big like game room with the big screen was in a studio, and um, it was so cool. It's unlike anything I've ever seen. It felt like Harry Potter. Like walking in, I felt like this is what I've dreamed of. Like this is why I became an actor, is to be part of these like worlds that are so absurd. And just the fact that they built all of that for this, it was amazing to me. And it's impeccable. I'll say one kind of maybe behind the scenes thing about the studio set was that there's a cove in the library that is based off of a cove in a real library. It's the one that me and Hunter had our scene in, the library scene, and lots of the library scenes I think are in there. Um, but some of those shots are in a built library cove and the other ones are in the actual library and it looks exactly the same. And it's crazy, like down to the window. Down to the details. They have an exact replica of a real life location in that studio. And that was really cool because sometimes we couldn't film in the school, in the actual library. Um, so, I mean, seeing all these different pieces and different locations kind of come together to become one school is just magical. It's fun.
It's amazing what sets and productions can put together. The
Yeah.
student council quarters with that round table that you also got to spend considerable time in also felt very cool.
Yeah. Oh, that's another thing is like we would walk up the stairs to the student council room, but actually that room was not a room. It was just like a just wood on the ground, and then the actual student council room was downstairs in a different area. Because sometimes there'd be, I don't remember. Well, it would just wouldn't be logical, I guess, to have a set up some stairs that aren't really real, and then like have to carry gear, and it was really small. And so yeah, so like it's like we would walk up to this student council area or like have a scene where we leave the student council area, but then when you actually are, it's like two separate locations that we were filming in. So it's fun. It's just movie magic, showbiz. Like that's like just a fun thing.
And of
Yeah.
course, a very different school set than you were used to previously with Backstage. But
Yeah.
how was it working with the cast? Do you have a favorite memory or two from filming and just being together?
Oh yeah. It honestly, I kept saying, and nobody was there from Backstage, but I was like, this feels like Backstage again. Like this feels like Backstage Part Two, and nobody knows how I feel except for people who are on Backstage. And I felt like it was deja vu, a lot of it. It was so similar. Just being older though, and being able to like look back at that experience and go, wow, like I get almost like felt like I got to live it again in a way. And it was so special. Like the community we built with the cast was something you don't see every day. And I think it comes through in the screen. It's like I haven't even seen it, and I'm confident that our connections and our bonds that we formed are obvious in the characters. Because we all were there for each other. Everybody had hard days. Everyone had great days. And when people were having great days, everyone was cheering them on and being like, you were amazing. You were so great. Great job. Like people recognized how much work went into everyone's characters and scenes. Um, and then on the hard days, everybody was there uplifting you and holding you up. And that was something that was so important and integral, I think, to this whole show being what it was, is it made everyone want to do the best they could do. Because it's like we were all in it together. And for me personally, it just made me so much more passionate about what I was doing. I was already excited, but then I'm like, well, now I'm just excited to go play with these people that I love, and knowing they see me and love me and are such safe people, like it just makes it easier to really dive in, and everybody, I think I could speak for everyone when I say like we all gave performances that really went outside of our comfort zone because we felt safe to do that on that environment in that environment. And that's really special. You don't get to see that a lot. Um, and a favorite memory that I have um, is I'm trying to think. There are a lot. The first one that comes to mind is just like the amount of bits we would do when we're not filming. We had multiple running bits, and we would jokingly refer to the show Bet as Bit because there were so many bits. And I now don't remember what they are because we were delirious all the time. So it would just be like, I don't know, someone would do something, and then there was something everybody would say. And I can't remember now, it's like I can't remember what it was, but those little moments are my favorite memories of when we're like about to film and we can't stop laughing. And then they're like, okay, guys, like I know this is fun, but like you have to stop laughing. And even though we're not being professional in that moment, it's those moments that make you go like, this is why I do this. This is so much fun. And now we have to stop laughing. Now we have to be serious.
That's so special to have had multiple experiences now where you're creating this bond and this family for life. And it kind of comes from top down as well. You mentioned having support. How was it working with Simon Barry and his creative vision for the show? Was it very collaborative?
100%. It was like it was the most collaborative thing I've ever been a part of. And it was the only, and this is not no shade to any other set I've been part of. It just was not that any other one was like bad, but this one was just really good. Like it was just really encouraging. And it was the one of the first times I felt fully trusted as an actor to do what I do and like make choices. And I think that is credit to Simon Barry because he set that tone of the first day I kind of thought like, does he hate me? Because he's not giving me notes and I don't understand like why are you not telling me what to do? And so I walk over to him and I'm like, am I okay? Like, am I doing something wrong? And he's like, no, I'm like, I just am letting you guys do it. You're killing it. You're doing it better than I would have done it. Like I can't think of what you're doing. You're doing better. And that was a crazy thing already to like have someone that had that experience or like that perspective to go, I'm trusting you. Like you guys are, it's working. And if it's working, I'm not going to say anything. Because I'm going to let you do your thing. And so that was a lot of it was him letting us do our thing and then interjecting if it wasn't working and being really collaborative about those moments. And even with the script, I mean, I felt at one point there was part of an arc with my character that I didn't fully feel made sense. And that's a tough thing as an actor because it's kind of your job to make whatever is in the script make sense. And I felt kind of like maybe this isn't my place to feel like my character wouldn't do this or say this. And I wasn't sure. And normally I would just kind of go, okay, I'm just gonna live with it. But in this case, I felt safe because it was so collaborative. I felt safe to go to Simon and just bring him my concern. And not in a way of like, I don't like this, change it, but just kind of like, hey, I'm kind of concerned about this and how it relates to this arc. And, what did you picture for my character there? And we talked it through. And he listened to my perspective and ultimately we came to like an agreement about like that in that moment I had a good understanding of my character to know that I would have done something else. And so that ended up affecting the script. And he was so open about that and so willing to like his priority was like let's make the best show possible and let's all work together. And that's what I like to do. That's my favorite way to work is to look at everybody's perspective and come together and collaborate. So, yeah, like the most it could be collaborative it was. It was unlike anything else I've experienced.
That's wonderful, and I've only read good things about him and how he works, and obviously his resume speaks for itself. If renewed for a season two, what would you like to further explore with your character?
I definitely want to continue to explore Michael and Dory. I think that it's exciting to me to feel like this is all speculation. Like I don't know if this is actually canon or anything, so I'm not spoiling if because they we haven't even talked about season two, but I kind of think, this arc for Michael was like bringing out his dark side a lot, and I would like to see that, and I'd like to see Dory go with him and go, yeah, you know what? Like now we're the frickin' like I want to be the bad guy. I want to be the bad guys, and um that was another way I thought of like Harley Quinn and the Joker. Like I want to be like that. Like I want that, and that would be really fun. And then I also would love to see Dory heal. I'd love to see her lean into her softness more. Um, and kind of, I think that's mostly because it mirrors my own journey a lot, and that's something I'm passionate about in my own life is healing. And so naturally, I feel like it would be really fun for me to explore that in this character of what would that look like for her? How does she wean off of her eye patch, or something, like how does she ground herself and learn how to come home, I guess, to herself because the seed planted with Michael was like if somebody can see me and accept me for who I am, maybe I can accept me for who I am. And I want to see that. I want to see Dory learn how to find true confidence instead of just bravado.
I think there's so much more to explore with her and these characters. Of course, you would know this by now, but being inspired by any popular beloved manga would draw the attention of many. How conscious were you in the cast of this and wanting to, do the source material justice, but balancing that, of course, with telling your own story and bringing something new to these characters?
Yeah, balance was a huge word. I think that's what it was. It was like all of us understood that we're touching something people love, and so we need to do it with as much love and conscious like consciousness really about what we're doing. And there was another part that was like, we also don't want to copy the manga or copy the anime. We don't want to do something that's not honest to this cast and the Western, nature of this version, this adaptation, right? So it was a balance of like we were very protective of the world we were in and the essence of the story. And then what we really were committed to, and I can speak for myself, but I feel like this seemed like a group mentality, at least to me, um, was that the point of telling this version of the story was to get to this deeper core of why are these people like this? And so changing the names of the characters and changing them slightly, but keeping them inspired just gave us a lot more freedom to find that and not worry about having to be exactly like these original manga characters and ruining them. Because that was kind of what I would be concerned with if I was playing, for example, Midari, and then we go to find her deeper truth. It just, to me, that actually feels less honoring of the source material versus like, hey, what if we took this world and we went deeper and we took the essence of these crazy characters and we made them grounded and a little more real, I guess. Like, what would that look like? And so there was definitely a balance that we were all conscious of, and also looking to not be afraid to make our own choices that feel right in the moment, um, knowing that all of us had the same idea of like we know what the core of it is, and that is the essence is the same, but the story is like it might as well be a completely different show than the anime or like the manga. It's its own beast in a way. So we leaned into that too to be like, I think that's the best choice. Just make it its own thing and hope that the people that love the manga will love this version of this story, as a tangent of it. Um, but also to bring in people who might not have even known about the manga to go, oh wow, I'm gonna go check out that manga because I like this show, So it was kind of, yeah, a balance.
I love that. And I think it really gives you the space to expand for the future as well. And, coming from someone who was not familiar with Kakegurui before watching Bet, like I think that they're standalone. Like I think there's some misconceptions out there that it's supposed to be, a verbatim
Yeah.
adaptation where it's really not. And I was a big fan of Bet. I'm excited to now go in and see Kakegurui and see, they have, I think, like the anime, the manga, the a separate live action adaptation. So I think it just expands and opens this world. So hopefully people are open to that. I'm excited for you all. We'll get into music now. I've watched your songwriting evolve and mature since you began pursuing music professionally, and you've talked about becoming more intentional and authentic. So, how would you describe how you've grown as an artist and musician since 2017's Songs About Boys?
Damn. Trust comes to mind as like the number one thing that's evolved in myself. That I can listen to my gut with things. And I think also another thing that's changed is I've become with becoming more experienced with songwriting, I become less precious about what I'm making. I think earlier in my career, and I don't think this is wrong necessarily, it's definitely a little bit immature, but I was very glued to like my ideas. Like I was like, this is the idea, this is what we're doing, or like this is what I'm doing. And I didn't really listen to anybody else. And I needed that. But then I had a phase of my career where I listened to everyone but myself. And that also wasn't very helpful. And then now I'm in a place where I have such deep trust in my own vision, but then also trust in the people on my team and around me that they're going to, when they point something out or when, we work together, it's a collaborative. My music is everything I do, honestly, creatively, is a collaboration, and I love collaborating with people. Um, so the big thing that's changed and evolved is trust, um, in myself and coming from not just I guess, arrogance, but real knowing that I know what's good. Like I know what's going to work for me. And that comes from failing or not having things not work so many times that then I go, okay, the things I thought would work in this way did. The things I wasn't sure about didn't work. Like this is good. I know I can now um, go forward and just throw things at the wall with full confidence instead of going, I don't know. And that's what it feels like the music I'm making now that like this month I have a single coming out, which I will start teasing soon, but like it's gonna be me like whipping it instead of just going, here you go. I don't know. It's like me going, this is what I made. And I think that level of confidence that comes from like years of the experience of being in this industry has helped me a lot. Yeah, in finding my voice.
I love that it could do that for you because it's just something about embracing the journey. And like you mentioned before, it's like before it's a lot of, oh, is am I doing it right? Like who can I kind of talk to? And like you said, relying on certain people. I have to add in my sister still listens to Crush. And I'm a big fan of Recovering People Pleaser. I know you are, but what am I? So it's nice to kind of see these kind of areas where you were before and where you are now. So tell me about those release plans and how it will build upon your most recent releases in Waves and Late Night Ice Cream.
Yeah, Waves was my first independent project, so that was important to me um, for just being able to kind of do whatever I wanted. That was kind of my album of going, I'm gonna make whatever the hell I want, and I'm not gonna worry about if it's gonna be successful. And that was the first time I kind of like let my guard down for a long time in terms of writing, and that's a huge credit to like my team I wrote with, which is Illegal Audio, Lexi and Mark. They're great. And that was I wrote that at a time too and released that at a time where I was like really struggling with my mental health. So I didn't get to fully see that to like its full potential, I feel like. And that was like disappointing for me. And so with this next era, it really, I mean, it kind of feels like it is the, it is the final boss of everything I've done up until this point. And I do feel like once this album is out, I will embark on some kind of new musical journey. But it feels like since I was 17, since I wrote Princesses Don't Cry, I've been trying to make this album. And everything you will hear from this album, I'm confident you can look back at like other things and go, "Oh, interesting, I get this more now." Like I get this song more because this song explained it a little better or like these visuals really clarified the tone she was going for or the like world that she was trying to create. Like I think it just makes me make more sense because it made me make more sense to me. I was like I all of it feels like a puzzle piece. Puzzle pieces leading to this.
And I think you mentioned in a comment on social media that you do have a music video coming for your next single as well, which is very exciting. Can you tell me about the lessons you've learned as an independent artist, previously signed with a major label, and how you've kept creative and productive without that backing that you had at the start of your career?
It was a little difficult to transition from having like a monster of a team, like monster meaning big, like just so many people working on your thing that have all these resources and experiences to then transitioning to going back to basically square one, where it's just me doing now everybody's job and that like was other people's job, now it's my job. And now I'm in full charge of my vision. That felt really scary and I think I needed it. I needed that because I didn't realize how much I was kind of giving up on certain elements of my vision because it was just easier to let someone else do it and not fighting for what I believe in as much anymore. And I think that this really forced me to go, okay, if I now it's like the stakes are a little higher. I'm the only voice fighting for me, so I need to do it. I need to be able to fight for me. And that led to me really working hard to develop what I wanted to say and what I wanted to feel like. And because now it's my name on it. There's nobody else I can blame. There's no one else I can say, well, if someone else doesn't like it, then it's like, oh, well, maybe that's because of this label or that's because this person said this about this song or whatever. Like now it's like my name's on it and it's my name. and I want to do everything I can to be happy with the product. And that's transitioned to me really rediscovering like why I do it in the first place. And that's been a really important part of my journey to do this by myself. And I realize I'm not by myself. I have people around me that love me and believe in my vision. And so I've had so much help from people around me. My manager is fantastic. My writing team is so collaborative and so helpful with everything. I'm filming part of my music video in my producer's basement because he was nice enough to let me use that. So it's like finding these like people where like I would have had to rent out a studio for that day. He's willing to help me out. And um yeah, really it forced me to lean on community and lean on people I love and trust myself, like I said. And I think that that was like a really important part of my journey. And so now I think even if I did sign to a label again, I just would go in with a different mindset of like I feel way more strong in who I am and um I know what it's like to like fight for what you believe in now when it comes to your art. So, yeah, hopefully that made sense.
You've been vocal about your mental health, including online and on stage at your shows. So, since you've been more open about it, what has that reception meant to you, especially in intimate spaces while you're performing?
It mirrors Dory in a way because the first thing that kind of I thought of was like this feeling of like, oh, people can see me and not run away. Like when I talked about my mental health on stage, I wasn't planning to do that. It was kind of like a last resort if I felt like I couldn't mask and I couldn't. So I usually put on this mask of perfection and try to, you know, I don't know, play up my confidence sometimes when it's not really actually there. And I couldn't do it. And so I was just like, at this point, I was so like tired. I just was like, hey, everyone, I just need you to know this is not like I'm not feeling good. And I kind of expected, I don't even really know what pushed me to say that. I think it was out of wanting to connect. And I didn't expect the reaction I got, which was that was the only show where everybody watched the whole thing and no one left. And that was shocking to me because I was like, guys, this isn't even like I've put on better shows. I've sung better, I've looked better, I've been funnier, I've been more charismatic. Like, why are you watching me? And it was a recognition of something I've always believed to be true, but haven't fully put myself out there to really see that it was true, which is that I can be vulnerable and be myself and be messy and kind of ugly, and I'm still worth listening to and loving. And if anything, it makes people feel more connected to me when they can see my humanity, even if it's not just your sad parts, but even your happy, even your joy, like sharing your authentic self resonates with people. And that's all I want to be able to do because that my favorite artists, like One Direction, honestly, is like one of the best examples. Like they were just fun and authentic and themselves and played and like yeah, it was definitely it's been that was a light bulb moment on stage and it made me realize I can be more afraid sometimes. I could definitely take more risks. I can be more vulnerable. But at the same time, I also don't have to the reason I'm not vulnerable sometimes is because I take myself too seriously. And I act like I have to be like, I don't know, like a perfect pop star or else. Like I don't know what I think's gonna happen if I'm not a perfect, amazing, best pop star in the world. So I just kind of released that pressure. I was like, okay, I'm just an artist. I'm sharing my thing and I'm sharing myself. And that's all I need to do. I don't need to think so hard about this. I can just be myself anyway. But part of that is my mental health and that I've struggled with it. Yeah. And
I
that's
think
fine.
it's important to have these moments, and I'm glad you kind of got to share that with audiences and coming to more of a realization that it's okay if I'm not always at 100%, and people can relate to that and respond to that. You released Ring Pop with Featurette last fall, such a fun song. You also toured together. So tell me about that friendship with Lexi and uplifting each other as female musicians in the Toronto music scene.
Yeah, it's a dream. I often look at her, especially when she's on stage, because she's just like lights up a stage. She's amazing. I often look at her and I feel like I'm like a 12-year-old in a way, and just being like, I get to be friends with this rock star. Like, that's so cool. And I just find her to be the coolest. We actually, when we first met, I did not think we would be friends because I thought we were so different, and I didn't feel like we were gonna get along. And that was literally based off of I made a joke and she didn't laugh, and I was like, okay, we're not gonna get along. Like, you don't think I'm funny? Okay. And then the more we talked, I was like it just felt like we were just meant to be in a way. And we had our first session together was horrible, and there was something about it that was just like, no, we need to keep trying. And she's helped me grow so much as an artist. And it was a dream to eventually have something out that we made together. And we had written a song a long time ago called, I don't know, can I swear? Can I say bad words? Okay, so it was called Slut for You or S for You. And it was a joke. Like we wrote that song basically as a joke. And it kind of sounds like ring pop. And we were like, okay, we don't want to release this song. It wasn't like the thing. So we were like, we don't release this, but like maybe we should release something since we're going on tour. Let's write a song we can sing that's just fun and like campy and bad bitch, and let's just like do that so we can perform it together. And that's what we did. We wrote Ring Pop, um, based on that. And yeah, like this friendship, she really like healed me in so many ways and helped me grow and evolve as an artist and a songwriter. And she's my favorite person to write with, like by far. I kind of don't feel like now I would be able to like write without her. Because she just gets me, and she's like a mirror. We are opposites, and it ends up being an asset to both of us that we see things so differently. Um, because the things I'm blind to, she points at, and then it's like, oh, great, perfect, and then same vice versa. So, yeah, that's just a little bit. That's about our friendship.
It's so nice to have these sounding boards who you trust, and there's a lot of mutual trust in each other. I have a couple more questions for you. What can you say about the Toronto music and arts community, how you've embraced being a part of it since pursuing acting and music as a career?
Yeah, I'm definitely more connected to the Toronto acting community. I just recently kind of got into the music community because I was so isolated in my art from the beginning of my career. I was someone that was making music in my basement by myself and then making it in studios, but like I didn't really perform much at the beginning, and I didn't go out to shows. I wasn't like super in the community, and lately I've been making more of an effort to connect with other people in the music industry, and I do think that's kind of coming from being independent and appreciating that path more. Um, and so wanting to go support other independent artists and go kind of check out the music in my city and support people who make music here, because like that's what we have each other. Like that community is so important and something I've always wanted. And that's something I'm building like literally now, with people here. And then the Toronto acting community, I just feel like I've always been more a part of that because there's, I guess, on set you are just more with other actors. So a lot of my friends are actors, and yeah, I love it. I think it's beautiful that we can all support each other. And there's something really nice about knowing the people where you're from and the art that they're making.
I think you have a best friend, Jillian, and I was seeing that she'll be in Overdue, which you have a connection with because your backstage co-star and friend Mackenzie is also in that. So a bit of a small world there.
Yeah, Mackenzie Small World.
I'm
Yeah.
so excited for that. I kept seeing, I saw the teasers for it. I'm like, this looks like it will be a good project.
Yeah, it was awesome. We got to see like a screening teaser. That was really good, and I'm really proud. I shed tears of pride for Mackenzie because she works so hard, and since I've known her, she's wanted to like make a TV show and has written so many different things. And at one point, we almost even wrote a TV show together, and that didn't end up coming to fruition. And just the journey of always wanting to do this, and then she did it, and it's so cool. And um the fact that she asked Jill to be part of it too, who like she knows through me. And Jill is a fabulous actor, comedian, writer. Like I love her. So it's really nice to see my two friends kind of come together and like put their skills together.
You are a talented seamstress and DIY designer. Where did this passion come from, and are you still crafting?
Yeah, I'm actually today is really kind of my last day, but I'm making my outfit for my music video that I'm filming on Monday. So, so I'm like, I really got to get moving on that. I was really delayed on that, but that desire actually it came a lot from watching Drag Race. I love the outfit challenges and the ball challenges where they have to make clothes and make outfits, and I love fashion, and I just found like I was looking for things to wear and I couldn't find things that weren't like $3,000 because it's like anything I want to wear that's like kooky or creative is like made by a designer. And that's all fun and good, but I don't have that money. I can't afford to buy that outfit from that designer. So I'm like, okay, well, then I better learn how to make my own stuff. And that's where it came from. But actually, funny enough, I haven't made anything for myself really ever. I've always just made it for other people. I made an outfit for Lexi for her music video. I made pajamas for Jillian for Christmas. I made a quilt for Jillian for Christmas. Like I've made things for people. And this outfit for this music video is the first like full outfit I'm making for my art, which was the reason I started in the first place. So I'm definitely still doing it. Oh, and I made my engagement party dress. I made a dress for my engagement party. Um, and so I've made little things, but for my actual craft, for my art, which was the reason I started, that this is the first thing I'm making that is like a full vision that came from the brain. So it's nerve-wracking because if I mess it up, then I have nothing to wear on Monday, but I don't think I'm gonna mess it up. It's going well so far.
I have faith that it will come together. And what's
Yeah,
cool
pray for
is
me.
you've made a lot, though. You have made like shirts for photo shoots and live shows. You've made a lampshade, headbands before. So it's really cool to kind of, push the envelope. And I hope you continue to get to do that. Are you making your own wedding dress?
Oh my God. You know what? No, but just because I don't trust myself yet at that point. I think if I actually have my wedding dress, but like I bought it. But seeing as now we kind of don't know when we're getting married, if we end up getting married in like 10 years and I'm like, hello, that's my cat Padme. She's a viral star. I don't know if you've seen that, but I think that if I became a seamstress like that was better, then I would make my own wedding dress for sure. I felt like she wanted to be on the camera.
How adorable.
This is P. Say hi.
Such wide eyes.
Yeah, she's always looks scared.
I'll never say never. I have one more question. If you were to compete on Master Chef, what would you make as your signature dish and why?
Um, bowl of cereal because I am not a very good cook, and I really think I am really good with milk to cereal ratio. And I think if they could just grade me on that, then I would win. Because it's always for me the perfect amount. Whenever I finish my cereal, there's no milk left, and I think that that's a skill.
It's a hidden talent, of course. It's like
Exactly.
disrespect that, a hidden talent.
Yeah.
I think that's the first cereal, like non-cooking thing I've heard, but I love it. And it was such a great way to end things off. Thank you so much, Aviva, for taking the time to chat. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. This was really fun, and it was nice to talk again.
Of course. And for all those watching, make sure to catch Aviva in Bet. Season 1 is out on Netflix on May 15th. The new music from Carys coming, so stay tuned and we will see you next time.